Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Team Comedy USA podcast here at the Sound City Studios. Is that where we are? In Van Nuys?
Sound City.
This is a cool little spot. This is a very pleasant surprise to find a spot. This literally could be the home for Team Comedy USA podcast. I'm in love with this spot. It's very cool. So introduce yourself real quick, and then we'll jump right into some AI topics. So Ian, go ahead, you start.
Hi, my name is Ian. I'm currently a founder and CEO of a startup called Medusa AI, and we're focusing on using AI symbolic logic to help users create their own correct coding architectures.
So my name is James Davis. I'm a French technologist. I deal a lot with a chief technology evangelist for a company that is called Chasm Technologies. We deal with things like the platforms that deliver AI, cybersecurity, and so forth to multiple different nation states and local commercial entities.
Wow, you sound very important.
I try not to.
Kathleen?
I'm Dr. Kathleen Rosenblatt. I'm a pioneer acupuncturist and writer, a published author, and writing double books about music, focusing on the 60s, but the whole century around it. You know, what brought it up to it, and then all the things that were going on with lyrics and penetrating the whole book.
Awesome. You guys know me. I'm Steve Kimbrough, aka the Pod Brother / Ref Kimbrough. When I'm drinking some beers, I'm Ref Kimbrew. So that's how we get down tonight. So we're just basically going to jump right into why we're here tonight. I know some of the guys in the band are very passionate about AI and where it's going to go, and they have some warning nuggets about what could possibly happen with AI in the future. But let's grind it down to where we are today, and what effect does AI have with practical applications that we're using right now, and what are some of the advantages of having AI right now in the present as we speak? I'll throw it to you, Ian.
Well, currently at the moment, I consider AI to be a force multiplier, which means that anything that you're currently working on, you'll be able to fast track, whether it be in a matter of days or a matter of weeks. I also think that at this current moment, a lot of the AI is going to be automating some of the stuff that we don't want to do. So that's going to keep us focused on the more important aspects of our career or whatever we're doing at the moment with our lives. So,
yeah. When I think about AI today, I think about how the first television show was a television show about the radio. Right? That's all they did. They just did their radio thing in front of it. And where we know where TV is today is fantastical, right? So I feel we're in the very, very infancy in this piece of this conversation on how we could have it apply or do things from that particular perspective. So I think it's more than a force multiplier. I think it's our ability to really unchain ourselves from the current thinking processes that we're in today.
That's awesome. Kathleen, what's your take?
Well, I don't have too much of a take on it, except that I'm having so much fun with ChatGPT. At first I resented it. All the years I studied too much. I didn't party enough. I was always studying, and now all of a sudden ChatGPT can do in 4 minutes, 4 seconds what I spent hours and days and years doing. But on the other hand, I've got all this information, all these different arenas that I've been in, and now I can just get backing, and I can get studies, I can get explanations of things, questions. I have so many questions to it, and I get amazing answers. So I'm kind of in awe, I have to say.
See, for me, as a comedian, filmmaker, producer, writer, director, I've been on such a hard grind. I feel like what I've been doing for the past 40 years is chugging a train uphill with the heaviest boxcar you could possibly have, and it's just a grind and a struggle. And when I get to the top, the apex of the hill to take a break, I discover AI. And then now I'm like, okay, let me add AI. And now I'm being pushed down the backside of the hill. But this time, it's a little easier to get things done. And I can add more boxcars. And I got 30 boxcars, and I'm going faster. But now I'm in option fatigue because having access to so many tools that can accelerate what I've been trying to do for years. Now it's just a matter of like all these options that which one do I choose to make me go even faster and be even better and more efficient and more have more access. I call AI my left brain assistant so my right brain can create.
Yeah. Now, I would say that you're bringing to a point where I think is really important, though, which is too often we trust technology that has not earned our trust. So as you have put all those things on your back and you're trying to go forward, too often that I see in AI as an example, let's say I use ChatGPT, I take this lady who has unfortunately spends hours taking this old application that has this thing in PDF, she redoes it and puts it into an Excel. And I'm like, hey, you know what? You can use ChatGPT, get that done for you in a second. But I've only furthered her inability to further, because Excel is a terrible accounting application.
Right.
Too many times people want you to move out of that to do stuff. So, shouldn't I have asked, instead of enabling this, change the entire thing, right? We don't ask those type of questions enough.
Right.
And I think that's where that gets that next level expanse, if you will.
I totally agree with you. And as I'm learning the AI that I'm learning, I learned a word that I never really even applied to AI, and that's hallucinating. And and was so excited, and I would write something in, and then I would get like a four-headed horse with I'm like, what's going on here? And they're like, well, you're not being specific, and you're not using the right prompting. And I'm like, well, how do you get the right prompting? And then you ask ChatGPT or one of them, how do I prompt? And it will give you all these examples how to prompt and how to be more specific, more detailed. And then you do it, and all of a sudden everything falls into place, and there might be 2 or 3% of what you did hallucinates. I find that fascinating.
No. See, my favorite thing though is when I hear somebody go, "It's doing some hallucinating." Wait a minute. When I didn't tell the truth, they used to be called a lie. And they used to just be like, you lying, don't try that anymore, right? And so they got a good marketing person who was like, you know what, we need to call this hallucination. Because if we call it hallucination, people won't see it as lying. Yeah, no, they just lying to you. What's happening?
Well, ChatGPT just fibs.
Just fibs, right? Just a small
A little
fib.
white lie.
Just a little bit.
Right.
But it's
like,
fascinating.
oops.
It's fascinating. I just completed a 20-day intensive AI accelerator program. They threw about 40 apps at me, and I feel very, very confident that I can build some very cool tools that I can put out in the marketplace to sell, that people can use to make their lives better. What do you find, like, as far as the acceleration of AI tools to make AI, that sometimes they call them super AI. So what Kathleen's using might be AI, but what I'm using to build tools that Kathleen can use could be super AI. What's your take on that conversation? Like being able to build AI tools to, for whatever you come up with. Because I have a comedy tool that I'm working on right now where it's an app that addresses all the professional comedians' pains that they've gone through in trying to get open mics, stage time, get booked, write material, travel, hotel, airline, any and everything that a comic needs on the road. If there was an app that addressed all those pains, that's what I'm designing right now. As a professional comedian, I know thousands of pain points.
Well, there's definitely a silver lining to this. I think what's gonna make a company or someone stand out when they're trying to create tools using through AI is using their personal creativity. Because at the end of the day, what we're all using are large language models. and they're all coming from the same sources. So that's why there's going to be a lot of similarity depending on how you use your creativity with the actual AI, because that's going to be the difference between you and your competitors or other types of tools that are being created using the same kind of method.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, that's what when they were teaching me, the first thing they said was you tap into your productivity and your own professional experiences, because that's what's going to make your tool, your app tool, different than anybody else's in the world.
Well, it highlights a really important thing when you think about what the enterprise is doing, the people are doing today moving forward. The thing that you're describing is what's called AI experience compression. And using AI experience compression allows you to harness what you've learned to be able to then transition it to a person who can learn from that very easily. So it levels the playing field. Too often, I'll give you a great example. The Tractor Supply Company, they did the same thing where I don't know if you've ever been to an Ace Hardware or something of that nature. You go and you talk to the guy knows everything. He's like, oh, it's over here, this is where the pipe's at. He has it all down. He's seasoned, he's been there for a while, he knows this particular thing, he's had a million questions asked. That new guy that just got hired, he doesn't have that same thing. So Tractor Supply created a small mobile app that actually sits with the large language model and takes the AI experience compression of the learned experiences of all these people who have been putting this in play. So now, when you walk up to that junior employee, you can ask that same question, and it's going to spit out the answer that the old man would have spit out for you, but now the young man can take you to go find that same object.
Right.
So it's that AI experience compression that you've got to really hone into to make tools that can be leveraged from that nature.
That's what I have. I have Comedy AI experience compression.
That's right.
I learned something new today. So let's talk about like what are some of the dangers that you see in AI? And you can go futuristic, you can go now, you can go, like where do you see like Danger Will Robinson AI in Lost in Space?
Well, so one of the issues I'm particularly seeing is the overtrust and reliance on AI. There are times where, for example, a lot of developers today are using AI in their terminals. And a terminal is a very important aspect of software development because that's what allows a user to put commands or control the computer basically. And it's gotten to the point where they're trusting it, and there'll be situations where you tell the AI to do one thing and it accidentally deletes your whole database. Or they'll put in the wrong function and they don't check because they just assume that since they're asking for a simple change in their code base or whatever it is that they're doing, it's going to be okay, and that ends up ruining the whole project. So I think we have to remember that yes, AI can bring us much further along faster, but we can't trust something that has been proven to do too much yet.
So I don't have fears of guns that just are sitting on the ground. That I don't have fears of guns that are sitting on the ground with bullets. I do have fear with people who hold that gun and start waving that gun around. That's my fear with AI. AI is a weapon. It is a weapon in so many different capabilities. And so how we treat that weapon is going to be to whether the future is going to be in our hands or the future is going to be in someone else's hands very easily.
And there's also a addiction problem that I'm starting to see, is that people are interacting with their AIs as if they were interacting with a human. And there's been several cases where people end up being or acting psychotic because they decided to go through a mental exercise with their ChatGPT or their LLM that they're using.
So go deeper into that. What do you mean? So here I am, I'm chatting with my ChatGPT, and next thing I know, I'm in a post office spraying it with an AK-47. What do you mean by that?
So you can anthropomorphize. I anthropomorphize multiple times my AI. It gives it a character, it gives it an understanding, a persona, things that you can relate to it. What happens is if you let that veil slip that, hey, it's really not a person, that's when that veil becomes an issue. To his point, there have been so many just romance scams just alone. Romance scams are the biggest thing that are happening, and they're using AI to do these romance scams just very easily because people anthropomorphize with it, they get associated with it, and they forget. It's just what the worst part is that it's just numbers. It's not it has not even a characteristic behind it. It's just numbers, right? So.
So what you're saying is I should break up with my LLM before it's too late.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Do not sign that prenup. Sign that prenup.
What I don't understand is why it knows so much about me. Like I'll have different chats on different subjects, and she'll relate it. I say she will relate it back to this book or that book that I'm trying to write. She says, well, yeah, this will fit right in here, and this is a totally different chat, and yet she's still integrating all these various informations into how I might use it, as if she knows, and she kind of knows how I would say it. So now she's kind of knowing exactly what I will want to hear about, and it just kind of surprises me.
Yeah, they're watching, they're listening, they're seeing what you do, what you plug in, what you're typing, what you're working on, and they're like, oh, maybe she wants this, or maybe she wants that.
And she's always apologizing to me. She screws up a lot. And she just apologizes. Or I didn't ask the right question. I said, why didn't you ask me that? Tell me to ask that question 3 months ago.
See, the relationship that I'm in with my AI is, she yells at me and she calls me an idiot and she tells me how to drive, and it's like my AI is basically a snitch. I can't get away with nothing. My AI just be snitching on me all the time.
Right?
A tattletale.
It's a tattletale. I'm thinking I'm posting something cool about some comedy, but what actually pops up is like, me doing exercising a bad habit or something. Well, we got like a minute left. Let's go around the table and maybe share some of your social media, how we can reach out to you, where we can find you, and tell us about a project that you're working on that maybe some of my friends out there, the 3 or 4 people watching this, might want.
Sure. So you can find my startup at medusai.co, and I currently have a MVP called Socrates AI. I know we discussed hallucinations earlier, but one of the things that my product does is it helps plan out and reason besides the LLM, so you don't have to worry about creating some sort of software or coding project and not know what the architectural decisions are, because my AI logic would automate a lot of those processes for you.
Awesome.
I would say one of the way to reach out to me, I have a Fringe Technologist subscription blog that you can subscribe to. I'm also in the Quai. I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. Personally, I do multiple books as well, so you can find me out on Amazon and Kindle and so forth to grab the books. The current project I'm working on right now is something that's going to be dealing with the object of MyTerms. MyTerms is a new thing that Quai has been working on to really put forward the idea of getting autonomy back. To your original question that was saying, hey, how they know so much about me, there's this thing called a device identifier as a good example of it, and it's you, but it's not you, because they can't keep track of you technically. So they created this thing called a device identifier, in which is just like you, and they resell it to multiple people all the time about what you're doing in that space. So MyTerms and the consent chain that I've created understands your web. It looks at when you go to that website and it says the cookie that comes up and it's like, just opt in. How many times have you did that? How many times have you've been like, I'm flustered, I just click go ahead? Those are the pieces in which it delivers cookies down to your machine that have those device identifiers and things that are consistently being every time you go to a browser, every time you go to a web. So I created a extension that actually controls that. It will actually see when you actually do that, and it actually presents your terms, and it applies that when you go to that website, so you don't have to go opt in, reject all, any of those type of things. It keeps a track of your acceptance by creating a consent hash, and then it creates that consent hash and puts it out on the blockchain so that it's immutable every single time out there. So everything that you've denied is absolutely 100% there, and it's enforceable and auditable.
I want that.
Yeah.
'Cause I can't tell you how many times I click around trying to find how to reject a cookie. And then 20 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I'll just accept your ass. Come on, let's get. I got stuff to do.
So my extension tracks what they put in there, and with one button, you can click delete all those cookies that they put in there.
I want that. We gotta talk after this.
Absolutely.
After the show. Kathleen, what are you working on, and how can we find you?
Well, my website is called Brain Body Bliss. And that kind of says it all because I specialize in anxiety and depression while I'm working on the backaches and headaches and all the physical things. And I've got an amazing instrument, an electromagnetic field stimulator. It's a $20,000 machine that really rebuilds cells, whether it's brain cells or low back cells or peripheral neuropathy or whatever it is. And my other website is called youthplanet60sbook.com. And I've kind of just changed the title of the book to counterculture rising, the sonic birth of the boomers from Louis Armstrong to David Bowie. So it's musical, but it's also sociological.
Awesome. You can find
And
me.
I do podcasts with my pod brother.
Yes. She's my favorite person. You can find me, Pod Brother Nation, where this show will be, and you can also find me at Team Comedy USA. And I'm putting together a comedy coalition leading up to 2028. As you know, the Olympics are going to be here, and we're going to catch the world and entertain them with as much comedy as we possibly can. Film festivals, comedy podcasts, stand-up shows, and AI. Some fun AI stuff. So thanks a lot, you guys, for coming through. And
Thanks for
follow
having
me
us.
on Instagram. Is Team Comedy USA on Instagram. So follow me there. Thanks, guys. Peace out.